So now the fact that I can just pull that up like that, and then I can drag this. I mean, that's what I mean, is now I have complete full control.
Hey friends, welcome to Fundy's next installment of Fundy's free webinar series. We're your hosts, Amy and Andy of Sunshine and Rain Photography, coming to you live from Aurora Grande, California, and the beautiful U.S. Central Coast.
That's true.
We are so stoked to be joined today by the Fundy himself.
Yeah, Andrew.
And Ben Hartley of Six Figure Photography as well.
Yeah.
Ben is going to give us, Ben is going to give us a full walkthrough of Fundy Designer v10. What? So we're super stoked.
All the new crazy features.
So make sure you guys ask questions on the chat. We'll look for the questions on Facebook too, and we're gonna get rocking.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying hi. Where's everybody from? Eric is from Philly, near Philly. We'll just call it
Chris.
Philly.
Hey, good to see you, Crystal.
Dallas. Is it down in Dallas?
Sacramento.
Oh, Kelly
Tennessee.
in Austin. I'm being in Austin next week.
I need some Ohio people here. No one is from Ohio yet.
Ontario.
Can you show me all the good places for coffee?
Utah, Virginia, Washington,
Olympia.
Michigan.
Calgary.
All right.
Q&A.
Nice. Nice. Let's dive in.
Okay.
All right. Go. What do you want to see?
Let's go.
Like, what do we do?
Let's do new drop zones.
Yeah,
Let's
us.
check out the drop zones.
Yeah.
Yeah. First, Ben, tell me what were your thoughts the first time you used it?
Well, it's one of those things that like I pride myself on being able to like do anything. And I kind of bragged on my couples about it. Like I like whatever you want, you can't be too picky. I can do everything. I am a magician. And that's pretty true. But then every now and then they're going to be like, could you just adjust that one a little bit? And I go into like those ratios that you've had in the past. And what you've done now, like that's the coolest thing is, to me at least personally, it being able to slide and adjust and move anything. I don't know how you did it. Yeah, right. But so can we pull up a screen share to show people what we're talking about with it? And it's in conjunction. It's like
you want to share? Or do you want me to share?
Ooh, how about you start with the share and then I can share later. It's like show me yours.
And these are all,
I didn't finish it.
These are all Ben's images. So if you love them, they're his. If you hate them, they're his.
I should actually say this is a recent wedding, one of my most recent weddings that I photographed. And they had this little puppy's named as Gucci. And so I made sure to get as many photographs as Gucci as I possibly could.
Gucci is cute.
All right. So I'm going to turn the guides off by hitting the G to go into the grid and then the G again, just so we can hear it. And then one of my favorite new features is the theater mode. Just hit the little tab key, make everything bigger, make all the buttons go away. So if you're looking for the buttons and they're not there, it's because you hit the tab key.
Hey.
Okay, so the first thing that's cool is you can just grab anywhere in between images and just kind of do whatever you want, which is crazy. So this is some really, really crazy math. Our lead developer, he kind of lost his brain there for a while trying to work all the math out on this. The next thing is that in the past with drop zones, we see that currently we're in 2 columns, and you can see this with this little icon here. And if we want to switch that to rows, we can switch that to rows. But basically you were stuck with either rows or columns, which meant that you could drop a photo in a column somewhere here, but if you wanted to put an image here, like just to the left of this image, you wouldn't be able to do that, but now you can. So you can drop in here. And so basically this new functionality of drop zones I like to call inception, because you can just kind of keep going deeper and deeper into the drop zone. And obviously you probably wouldn't do an actual wedding like this, but good. You just keep going smaller and smaller and smaller.
And then within that, you can then drag just that one little, yes, that's what I'm talking about. You can just drag that one little bar.
So now you don't have to lie to your couples. You can tell them that
now I literally can do anything. Yeah, I think it was that. And then in conjunction, it's like sometimes it's the simplest things, like the little tab key thing, that makes the biggest difference. The fact that I can just press tab and then just all the stuff disappears and it's just big, especially when it comes, there's been a lot of conversation around the time it takes to do reveals. And when there's fewer distractions and there's fewer options of stuff to look at and to choose, just removing that with the tab key it just simplifies stuff for people's brains. There's a lot of decisions that go into in-person sales. And when you can just remove the clutter from them and allow them to focus just up on the screen, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't, let's go ahead. I'm going to stop screen share. Why don't you screen share and kind of show how you, would use these features kind of in a real world situation.
Sure. Situation. Okay, cool. Let me, well here, I'm going to clear some stuff. Sometimes I think what's fun to do too is even to like, just to show people what I'm up to, like from the beginning. Cause you already had something kind of made there and that was great, but I ain't got nothing made, homie. So let's do this. I'm just going to click auto design down here. So I brought in pictures at least. So that's good. I got that going for me, which is nice. But I'm going to click auto design. Let's do like 80 pages or something like that. And it's going to tell me it's like 4.5 images. That's cool. Custom order. Yeah, we'll do custom order. Sounds good. So I'll press design. So we'll see what it gives me. And I always describe this as like starting with the broom and then finishing with the needle. Right. So I just start with the broom. I just like created a design with a click.
I'm stealing that.
Yeah. Start with the broom, finish with the needle. Too many designers, I think they get over, like they're so obsessed with it and they just want to start editing and tweaking and making
it. Details, you're screwed.
Yes. And make it all perfect. Yep. And so, so then what I'll do is let's go into this one. And now I'm going to start to get into the needlework, if you will. So I'm going to click layouts. Oh, I've got a magazine laid out right now in my design sets. So let me get out of that and let's do album layouts up here. And so this is nice. It's kind of like a nice like detail shot. But one of the things, for example, that a couple may ask is they would say, Ben, I want this to be bigger. Can we make that one bigger and this one a little smaller? And I'm like, listen, this is a vertical, this is a horizontal. Well, what in the past what I've done, and this is what most people do as a workaround, is they click on this little 3.2 and they're like, well, maybe I could, try to go like vertical with it, but that jacks it up. So let's Control Z that shenanigans. I could go 1-to-1 and that's no good. So now the fact that I can just pull that up like that and then I can drag this. I mean, that's what I mean is now I have complete full control over everything with that. So that's just really the best example of how I would end up pulling, like using this is right there. So yeah.
That from a back end development standpoint, like that is so cool and it's so simple. And people are like, I've been waiting for this forever. Why haven't you done it sooner? Like, because it was really, really hard.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
One thing that you'll notice is our drop zones are patented. And there's no other program on the planet, even like Adobe InDesign or something that does this, because it's really, really hard. And it took us all the way from drop zones 1.0, 2.0 to get to this stage where we knew enough to build upon, right? Because you're always building upon what you know.
That's so phenomenal.
I just love it. And sometimes too, it's like a little thing. Let me go to a layout here and see if I can find one that has
that one right there is a good one. That right to the left of your mouse. Oops.
This one?
The second one from the left in the middle. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
Select that guy. And then you see that the lines don't quite line up over there on the right.
That's what I was looking for, actually.
Right? And you're like, and it snaps. Did you notice the snap?
Exactly. It just bloop. Yep. Or the other thing too is sometimes I'll get a design like this, Funny, and I'm not a huge fan of those crossing intersections. I like a little offset. Yes, exactly. Which is what I was looking for. I was looking for the opposite. Okay. Was the ability, just to be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
So good. Okay, cool. And this. Okay, like this. This is a great example of like too many crossroads.
Yeah.
Way too many crossroads for me. So, maybe this is one that I'm going to intentionally offset. Oh, is it different drop zone there?
Yeah, you can flip that drop zone. That's kind of also, but yeah, that's perfect, right?
Yeah, just like that. That's how I do it. Cool. I'm going to stop sharing here.
Easy peasy.
That's awesome. Super rad.
Carl on the Q&A says, thank you.
You're very welcome. I've gotten a lot of thank yous, and just to let everybody know, we take, when you see us, we take thank yous in the form of cappuccinos.
It is. The other thing, too, that I want to acknowledge with this is how smooth it is. There isn't any choppiness with it, which, okay, maybe I'm surprised by. I'll just say it. I'm like, oh, this actually is like, it's
super smooth.
It's completely smooth. There's no waiting for it to load.
Yeah.
It's live. It's happening right there. And so I just love that. I love when tech actually is responsive like that.
Yeah, we lucked out that part was easy.
Yeah, good.
We didn't know while we were doing it. It was like, we're going to do this thing, and then we will know after we make it whether it's going to be choppy or smooth, and when we have to try to fix that. Luckily, it was.
Yeah. That's good. All right, well, so what's next down the road? Because we got a lot to cover here.
Yeah, let's talk about custom image order.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
How awesome is this for you, Ben? Tell us.
So let me.
Yeah, well, Andrew, are you sharing or am I about to share? Because I'd love to share, actually.
Okay, so you go ahead and share then. And then
cool.
After you're done, I'll show you one secret thing, too, that'll make people happy.
Ooh.
Yeah. That kind of saved your butt on this one when you sent me those images and you didn't know it, Ben.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, so let me go ahead.
Hey, while you're giving that up, Fundy, I feel like I used to know this answer, but how much RAM is recommended?
So most of our computers in the office have just 8 megabytes of RAM, and it seems to be run fine. Obviously, depends on how many programs you have open. Like if you're running Photoshop along with it because you're editing and stuff, you might want a little bit more. But, kind of depends. 8 is fine. 16 is plenty.
Cool. So this is a real world example, which is great, which is why I wanted to hop in and screen share. So this is where this comes into play with being able to do custom order stuff. So on the top here, you're going to see detail shots, right? So up here on the top, I've got my details. And so my second shooter was photographing these details simultaneously. I'm out doing something else. So I'm over here with the girls and we're popping champagne over here, right? Yeah. So it's like, I'm popping champagne. Second shooter is doing, oh shoot, I just closed out of the thing. I just canceled my screen share. Let me go back into the screen share. Classic. Okay, cool. So while I'm doing that, my second shooter, then we get down to here where we have the dress, okay? Yeah. But maybe while I'm wanting these to all be designed to come together as an auto design at the same time. So I can either grab one or I can just press shift and I can grab both of these. And I can just drag this over here and that yellow part is going to show where it's going to move to. And now I've got a custom order of all the details there in a row. Now, this is neat. Let me, I've got to share my other window since I've got 2 different windows up. So let me share my other window here.
If you command tilde, you can kind of just switch back and forth.
Ooh, see, command tilde.
Is that right? I think so.
Let's see what happens here.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's changed the screen share.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
you just shared that one window.
Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. So you guys see this now? Okay, so down here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sort these by my custom order. And so now it's going to show all of my dress stuff here with the other details, okay? And this is really helpful because when I go to auto design, you guys may have noticed when I auto designed, you can auto design based off of custom order, right? So now when I go to do this, auto design, it's going to clear up my old one here. All of my details are all in the front of the album, right? So my dresses are right there, right? So I've got 2 spreads of details right here in front rather than having, dresses halfway down or something popping into the middle of this. So I've got something cool just like that. So that's where I've seen it play out really helpful for me. I've got my stationery, and then, you know, what they're wearing. So Fundy, I'm going to pass it over to you so you can show us some of the little tips and tricks along the way.
Let me.
Hey, Fundy, we got a chat that they can't hear your audio too well.
Okay, my audio. Can everybody else hear my audio, or was I just?
That's better.
That's
That's way better, actually.
Yeah.
I can turn my mic up just a little bit there. How's that?
That sounds better. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Could you just put it in your just like just touch your face?
Yeah.
Okay. So, couple things. Let me turn on my file name. So one of the issues we had before is that if you didn't have leading zeros in front of your files, they would not be in order. So it would be like 4, 42, 5. And we fixed that issue. So now those are all in order. So that's cool.
I'm so thankful for that, because as you can tell, but old habits die hard, right? So like my habit has always been when I export out, I don't do the 00, you know, 1, 002.
Yeah.
Old habits die hard. So this is so great for me. Thank you.
Now you don't have to change your habit.
Oh, wonderful.
Just a second. I was clearing those stars, and this computer. This is a brand new.
Jess has a question while you're working on that. Jess Seed, good to see you, Jess, by the way. She says, how do you turn on the file names? Jess, if you just click up on there may be a toggle for it, a quick little shortcut, but under View, and it says toggle file names. Is there a hotkey for that, Andrew?
There is. It's an N for names.
There you go, N for names. But yeah, just go up to View if you can't think of that.
As much as possible to use the first letter of whatever it is. So for example, guides is G, warnings is W, names is N. We didn't take file names because I can't. F was something else. But we try to do that whenever we can.
That's great.
And then things like stars and stuff. Oh, F is favorites. That way we couldn't use the file name. And then stars are 1, 3, 4, 5, etc. So another thing, and we can kind of get this a little bit later when we go into the slideshow, but if you do custom order, and then let's say I tag just these 5, when we get to the slideshow section, let's say we wanted to start off our slideshow with our title, and then we just wanted to start off with only the 5-star images. Oh, come on. I've got to take this computer back to Apple. This is not the program. This computer is just like super slow. But I can do just the 5-star images in custom order in the slideshow. And the thought behind that is that you can really build really dynamic slideshows. Maybe you start with the title, and then you do like 5 super awesome images, and then your album design, and then maybe 10 super awesome images that are in the wall art, and then your wall art design and stuff like that. So you can kind of mix and match all of your slideshow stuff. And that custom order comes into play because some people like to really like go with a very precise order in their slideshows.
Yeah, the slideshow thing's awesome, and it matches to the music as well. So that's super cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is a good kind of segue. We should just start talking about the slideshows a little bit then.
Yeah,
is that cool if we go to that? Is that next on the blog?
Yeah, let's do it. Slideshows next.
All right, cool.
All right. Do you want me to stop sharing? You want to take over then? Let me just kind of go over basically the fundamentally how it works, and then you can So
sounds good.
You can add whatever you want to the slideshow. So I have some title slides, image slides, the album, and then some wall art. You can change the order of any of this stuff as we go through, right? So I can bring that down, this one up. And then you can keep adding whatever you want. So you can add your studio logo, cards, like I have a card design, so I can add a card design here. Thank you card. And then over here, you can add your music. We've added another 10 songs to the music library in the design library. So I can add this one in here. Let's remove this guy. And then I can click match music here.
Yeah, that's great.
Right. And then basically what happens is that the slideshow will end when the song ends. So and in addition to that, when you go, you can set your image slide, wall art slide timing to be different, and it will just kind of move everything in an intelligent way. So if you have your images set at 3 seconds and your album set at 5 seconds and it needs to reduce that, it'll reduce it down to 2.6 and 4.6, for example. instead of just making everything the same.
Mm-hmm.
By
Awesome.
default, you do want to use OpenGL because that'll make your slideshow smoother. You might see a little color variance of what the actual images look like, but it's not enough to really hurt anything. And then you can play your slideshow, export it, etc. But I'll let you take over now. I just kind of want to go over the nuts and bolts there.
Okay, cool. Well, I mean, that's the nuts and bolts. That's what I love about it, is like that's really going to be the core of it. But let me get in. I mean, so I'll click on.
I mean, I think
share, don't I?
The biggest thing people want to know, and they can echo, is how will you use the new features in your reveals?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so let me go in. I'm going to do a screen share here, and let's talk maybe even relative to how things were in the past. So I'll keep it on. Okay, so we'll hop in here. I've got a little slideshow started. In the past, you had to be pretty specific about what you named your albums, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, here, hopefully I'm still sharing. You know what? I just need to share the full software instead of the window.
Yeah, to share
Let me
your
get
whole
back
desktop.
into my new share desktop. Okay, cool. Okay, sweet. So here we go. So in the past, whenever I had a product, right? So I had an album here. This says V10, baby. This is my album. My slideshow would have been called V10, baby. Yeah. And so what I love about the way that it's set up now is I can go into slideshows, I can do create slideshow, and now I get to actually start with a title sequence, but better yet, I get to start with a branding slide. So you can upload your logo. So in here, there's a studio logo slide. So I made one for Style and Story, right? So Style and Story, I'm going to start every slideshow off with a little piece of branding. Yeah. Then instead of it being V10, baby,
also with the branding, if you wanted to,
absolutely, you could just duplicate that again. I've got one for Gucci, the little puppy again. I have some favorited images of Gucci, and so maybe I'll start the slideshow off because they loved their. Real talk here. This couple loved their dog. He had outfit changes, y'all. So maybe I'm going to start literally off with this like 10 amazing shots of Gucci. And I think the thing that I'm a sucker for is the ability to actually choose. I mean, listen, we're talking about design software. So like font choice is really important to me. I love a nice, clean, minimal sans serif. So Gotham Light is a go-to for me. And I love that I can just load up one of my purchased fonts. And not just be stuck with like the I don't know what you would even call them, the standard operating system fonts. Yeah. So then I'm going to do favorite images. So look, a couple comes in, they're going to see these pictures over there, right on that wall, right? That's what they're going to see first. Then we're going to sit down and I'm going to open up Fundy and I'm going to do a slideshow right off the bat. And in that slideshow, I like to start with like 10 or so, like you just described, hero shots, or in this situation, 10 shots I just know the couple is going to just like laugh, they're going to love, they're going to eat up. And then from there, I get to do another title slide. That's what this number 4 is, another title slide here. And I just wrote Jack and Jill's album. You could title this whatever you'd like, your story, your narrative.
There was a question about fonts. Somebody asked if you could load your own fonts. Yes, but you don't have to load them. It just pulls from whatever fonts you have on your computer, right? Just like Photoshop would or anything. So
absolutely. So then the album is going to be the version 10 baby album, right? So I just to choose the album. I could also choose a magazine. I'm going to just choose the album. But then what we do is we're going to show the album next in its entirety. And then I'll add one more title sequence. And the last thing that I always end on, this is really important to me, is I always end on physical artwork for the walls. So I may choose a title like artwork. And I'm going to go here into default font and I'll choose Gotham Light. Now, this is something that you guys need to be aware of right now is the background right here is black. And so I'm going to go into that. I'm going to make sure that background is white. That way the black text shows up on that white background. And then I'll go into the slides and now I'm going to choose not an album slide, but a wall art slide.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah.
Click on that Gotham Light drop down.
Yes, sir.
And then search for Gotham Light.
Oh, type in Gotham Light?
Yeah. And then where's the little favorite thing? When I have a bug, you can't favorite it.
Oh, there it is. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. We'll catch it soon.
Yeah, usually.
But you will be able to favorite typefaces?
Yeah, so you can possibly it's just in the slideshow module, the favorite's not showing up because if you favored it in another module, that favorite would show at the top within here too as a workaround.
Okay, cool. So what I just added was I added in wall art slides, and I only have one section that I've done, and so that's why it's just called wall art. I probably should have called it something less generic so you guys would have known that you could choose any of your selections of wall art to end on. And then I've gone ahead and chosen a song. Make sure that you guys download those songs with in the, what's it called? The gallery, the
design library.
Design library. Make sure you go in and you download all the wedding songs or whatever niche you're in. And there you go. So if I were to press, can I play it?
Go ahead and play it. Yeah, let's play it.
Okay, cool. So I'll press play.
And while you're playing it, we had a question from Martin on Facebook. Thank you for your question, Martin. And yes, you can match the photos can match the length of your music just with the click of a button.
Mm-hmm. Can you guys hear the music or not? I don't know if the audio is going to come through for them.
No.
My guess is it's not. It's all good. This is all set to beautiful music. So here's Gucci just being his Gucci self, sitting on her dress. She's cuddling Gooch.
Yep.
Snuggling with the Gooch. The Gooch. I did a veil shot for the puppy. So now we're going to transition into the album.
If you're using Zoom for conferences, there is a setting, I'm not sure how you do it, where you can say play computer audio, and then the slideshow music will play through their speakers better than trying to go through your own microphone and stuff. But I'm not sure how to do that.
I went ahead and I ended it because the album that I had pre-designed is not an actual album. I had roughed it in, and it was 100 some pages. I didn't want people to sit there through 100 pages, but that's how it would look. And now here's the really cool thing. Let me actually do one more screen share to get back into this. This is what's awesome. Is slideshows. Go ahead, man.
Can you show that for Martin on Facebook? Can you show that one where it says match music? Can you just kind of point to it?
Yep.
When you pull that up again.
Create slideshow. It's right here. Match music.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So you click that little guy, and you're going to match music. Do you want to match the slideshow duration to the music? Yep, I do. And so it's going to auto adjust the exact timing of that. So it's going to be 3.934 seconds per slide. Which is fantastic. Yeah. And what I was going to show is the export feature. Is I could take this, and this now I can just actually render this thing out. So I can export out my slideshow video. And with that capability, I just wanted to show that you could do that. With that now, like, listen, the world is your oyster. It's like you could just that could be a part of your experience. It could be a part of the value that they receive through hiring you. It could be something that after, they've invested $1,500 or more, they get the full slideshow. You could use it as an incentive. It could be something that you just straight up sell. It's like, hey, if you like the slideshow, it's $299. Listen, again, you get to make these choices for your own business per client. But I'm a huge fan of incentivizing the purchase of physical printed product. And so using a digital service like this to incentivize the printing of real, tangible objects is what I do all the time. And so that's what we use it for, is the incentivization of, it doesn't even have to be a strict dollar amount. How would I do what exactly?
Incentivize it. Would you say, like, if you get XYZ, then the slideshow?
Exactly. Yeah. So it could, again, for us, we've got a couple things that we do. Anytime somebody buys a wall art collection, they're going to get they get their proof prints, but they're also going to get the slideshow. Okay. So for us, we've got these wall art collections that we use. We design inside of Fundy. They're 3 image collections, 4 image collections. It kind of depends. But yeah, if you purchase a wall art collection for $1,500, it's going to include the proof prints that you just saw, and it's going to include the slideshow. You could do something like, if you add on a minimum of 10 pages, spreads, 40 images, however you're kind of selling the album, then it would include the slideshow. That's my favorite way to do it, is to incentivize physically printed products.
I know some people, one of the ways that some people will use incentivizing, basically they say, hey, I'm going to show you your album. If you get it as is, then you get these things XYZ for free, because then you basically take that design consultation. It's 10 minutes long and you're done.
Yep.
Right. Yep. So that's another way that I know that some people incentivize.
Absolutely love that. That's a great idea.
Hey, Fundy, there's a couple questions in the Q&A you might want to take a look at and maybe write them an answer.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so while you're doing that, the next thing is new theater mode, and we talked about that, but just to remind everybody, tab that.
Tab that. Just tab it.
Tab, baby.
Drink a tab while you're doing it.
All right. So after that, we're going to talk about apply partial designs.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, do we want to dip into some questions first, and then we'll go into that, or do you want to jump into partial design?
So just a question. So Cortland Wilson has a question about their account and their license. For any licensing problems, please go to the website, click support, and submit a support ticket, as the support team is the only one that can access your account, right? You don't want me accessing your account live on a webinar. So they're the only one that can access that. So submit a support ticket. David has a question, gave us a teaser about this new software support, so they didn't have information about the current time. So I'm not sure what David's question is here. So
David, he had asked earlier that he has Fundy 8.2.46, and he was wondering if he was able to download the latest software. And we had suggested do a support ticket. And then his follow-up question was they didn't have information at that time.
Yeah, when we announced, we were pretty clear. If you purchased on or after September 1st, 2019, you would get grandfathered in. If you purchased before that, then you'll have to pay for the upgrade.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about apply partial designs.
Yeah, so do you guys, I can hop in and do a little screen share and kind of show where this comes in. Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
We built this feature mostly for the magazine designer, because I think that's where it's most useful, but you can use it in any book design, album, whatnot.
Yep, absolutely. So let me share. And again, I think I like showing kind of from the beginning stages, you know, so, and I'll be fast with it, but I'll share my desktop here. Okay, cool. So I just went ahead and I'm going to click this magazine, and I'll do a new studio magazine, right? Because I agree with you, Fundy, it makes a lot of sense for magazines. So let's do next. I'll click magazine. I'll do next. And I'm a wedding photographer, so I'll do a nice wedding magazine. Cool. And I'll write.
Added, I believe, 3 or 4 new wedding magazine templates. We added, I think, 10 or 11 new magazine templates in all. So be sure to check out the design library for different template styles.
It's awesome. So here we have these templates, right? This is the initial template. Maybe we'll go into the timeline one here. I'll minimize my images. So we've got this. It looks great. Fantastic. I can go into layouts here, and I'll go to my magazine, and in the design library, I've loaded up a couple other magazines that I like. Normally, you know, I've got my basic wedding magazine layout. And if I were to do this one here, I got to move my little screen share stuff. You know, I could choose other layouts, right? So I've got my timeline one, the pricing, albums. For starters, I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to do the second version, Wedding Magazine V2. And we're looking at timelines, and I kind of like this, right? Well, if I choose that, the entire thing changes out, and that's fine. But what if I go back in and I want to just like, man, I like this left side. I only have 3 timeline things to address. I don't really have these other things. So I'll click back on layouts. And down here, this is addressing the full area. Well, I have already stated that I like my left side, but I want to change out the right. So I'm going to say, listen, I want to design for my right page. That's what I'm looking for. So you're going to notice the left page is going to stay the same in every single one of these layouts because I'm only switching out the right page. Okay. So my left side is staying the same because I'm only looking for the right page. So this one, so this looks kind of cool. I like that. So let me just like, you know, snazz this up a little bit. I'll kind of throw in some photographs here of some like pretty things. Let's see, like that. Cool. Now over here, maybe I like the bottom section of this, right? So I like this and this, but I'm still not feeling that. Well, let's delete that shenanigans. Okay. And let's go back into my layout. And so now what I could do is I could choose the remaining area. Okay, so you're gonna notice the left side is staying the same in every single one of these layouts. The bottom right is the same in every single one of these layouts. And now all that's left is the top right. Well, if you guys saw, it's not even a full quarter of the space. So there's not gonna be too many layouts that are gonna be like winners, but like this is kind of nice. Or maybe let's go with like, maybe it's just a flourish. Maybe I just go with that. Or like this one, About Us, right? So now I've got this whole new, I moved the wrong thing. Control Z that. I'm trying to move. I have all these little screen share windows. I'm trying to move out of my way so I can see my design. But I just produced this completely customized with different layouts, like on the fly. I mean, again, just to show you guys, what if I deleted these two things? I'm like, I just want this top left. I go back into layouts. I'm going to choose the area. I'm going to choose only the remaining area. And you will notice once again, everything else will be the same in all these designs except for the bottom right-hand corner. And so maybe now I like something like this, okay? And I can populate that with some artwork right there. Again, I'm not making a good design right now. I'm just showing you what you can do. It's like the world is your oyster. And this is so great.
Move it around and resize it.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, like maybe I really like this whole thing, right? Like the About Us stuff, but I'm not a huge fan of this content section up here being how it is. And so I'm a sucker for just like putting in pretty like details inside these type of view books. So I like my right side, not a fan of my left. So I'm going to click on layouts. I will keep my my right side of the page. And so I only want to be designing for the left. Notice the right side stays the same. I kind of like this full image with like some flourish to it. That's kind of pretty. Maybe I can do like her dress or something that's a little too much, a little gaudy. There, that's kind of pretty. So maybe I could do that, right? Again, just designing off the right. So that's, I think now there's no excuse to not have like a really beautiful magazine, view book, whatever you want to call it, guide. And the cool thing too, I'll stop sharing here for a second, but this is stuff that you guys can use, yes, for like your pricing guides, but you could use this for also resources. You know, this whole content creation, you know, kind of like nurturing clients is a big thing these days in regards to giving value, giving guides. So you could create, let's say, an engagement guide of like the best engagement locations in your city with this. You could create a guide on just solely a guide on like scheduling the day. What if you do a first look if you're a wedding photographer or something else? Any sort of guides you can produce with
this. You could list out like your favorite florists and dressmakers.
Absolutely.
And all that stuff, right?
Yep. So, and then you just render these out as PDFs, and now people could go on your website. They could download them directly from your site, from specific blog posts, however it is. So it doesn't just have to be about being like a pricing magazine or a pricing guide. Mm-hmm. When it's this easy to make this type of content, you can make really beautiful stuff. And this is the thing that blows me away, man. So I've got an amazing view book. I call it a view book. I've got this amazing thing, and I hired a designer to produce this damn thing, and it cost over $10,000 to produce like this. This was 10 years ago, to produce this amazing thing that like it's printed. It's like it's literal magazines. It's like a 50-page. Bro, come on, man. Like I'm here working with like some designer in New York to like design like this crazy custom full fancy shenanigan thing because I don't know how to use InDesign, and now I can just go ahead and make it here.
So we're actually
money spent, money gone, Ben. Don't.
So just to reinforce how easy that is, one of our neighbors across the street from our studio, she runs a couple insurance offices with Allstate, and we're going to work on this spring a magazine with her that's going to feature articles and information on like why you should insure whatever it is. So she gets a lot of people that come in, they get insurance on their rings, they have to get venue insurance here in California and stuff like that. So we're going to put a little article in there, like how to file a claim, why you should insure this, stuff like that. And it's going to have our photos, headshots of her and her people and stuff like that. So you can go to businesses nearby and just custom magazines for them super easy.
Yeah,
Dude, also quick side note, you don't even have to make a magazine. You could make a single spread, like a page, and have it be like, don't get too caught up in the idea that this is a magazine or a book. You could just make a resource. It's just a single 1-page resource that now looks like dope. It looks legit. It's properly like current type. It's like the margins are there. Everything is consistent and clean. It's awesome.
Yeah, she add it to their email campaigns, whatever, too. It's super easy. So
it's phenomenal.
Good point.
Good point. Okay, so let's just address a couple questions really quick. Carl, thank you for your question. You had asked about just album layout and how that works. So I'm just going to take us through a brief run through of the things that we talked about. So we talked about new drop zones. We talked about custom image order. So these are all things that apply to album layout. As far as showing your albums, we talked about new custom slideshows, the new theater mode with pressing tab, applying partial designs, which is Stacy's question. Thank you for your question. Yes, you can use that with albums as well. It's more popular to use it with magazines, but you can absolutely use that with album design also. And now we are headed into exposure correction. So Ben, tell us why you're so excited.
Well, listen, it's not even just exposure correction. It's like there's a whole slew of new things with retouching. So let me pull this up, because I actually I loaded in 2 images side by side so you can see kind of what's there. Andrew, would that be okay, or do you want to take it over?
No, go ahead and screen share. Just show people that under, let me see which, I just want to let people know that under the view menu, there's an option to toggle the full resolution film strip view. So if you're doing exposure correction and stuff like that, and it's running really slow, that's because it's doing it on the full resolution image, and you can toggle that off if you want to go faster. So just show people that it's under the view menu.
Okay, cool.
It's right above toggle theater mode. Just that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've got it shared here. So you're going to see this toggle speed versus color corrected.
No, the next one down.
No, toggle. So what you're going to want to do is, toggle full res film strip view, that one right there.
Yes, so that'll speed things up if you need to go faster when you're retouching stuff.
Okay, cool.
But it's a lower resolution image, so that's an option because maybe some people want to show the full resolution during a image reveal, and
got it
in on the pimple on her nose or something. I don't know.
Nice, right on. So I've gone ahead and I've just double clicked an image here, and I can click edit right here. Okay. And this is where we're going to get into skin retouching. Now we have the normal perfectly clear options here with all of these. In the past, there was only skin smoothing at the top, but now we have eye enhancement, eye circle removal, which is the biggest one that I use all the time,
isn't it?
And exposure correction. Now, let me start by showing you. So I loaded this image in twice, right? So I've got it here and I got it here. That way I can just kind of show you back and forth what it will look like. Out of all of these options, I've tested them all. I think it depends what kind of industry you're in. I think the safe one, where it doesn't kind of go too far for like the average shoot, or in this situation a wedding couple, where you've got maybe a guy and a girl, is full coverage. That's what I always use, and I recommend other people to use it as well. So I'm going to click full coverage to start. And so it's gone ahead, and one of the things I love about full coverage actually is the fact that it evens out the tint of skin tones. So notice how he's like pinker. He's got a little red in him. He's a little lobstery. So this right here, it's going to neutralize some of those tint variances that you're going to see in people. So this is before, and this is after. That's just with one click. I didn't do anything else yet, okay? Now, I will probably go ahead and drag skin smoothing down just a touch. Again, I'm not a huge fan of everybody being completely glossy, so I'll bring that skin smoothing down. Now, this is what I was talking about, the eye circle remover. You guys, in Ohio, more often than not, it's just like cloudy. It's so we get a lot of this. Like this guy's got, he's just got some little raccoons there. He's got some shadows because he's a person. And so eye circle removal, I'm just going to drag that up a little bit here, and it's going to soften up right underneath the eyes into these shadow areas there. And so I'll just push it up, and then I'm going to show you kind of side by side the differences here. Sometimes too, it's like if you blink, you won't see it. And so this is before, and this is after. Notice how her eyes brighten up, and look at the shadows under her eyes here and before. Stare right at the shadows under her eyes. And then after, shadows are gone. It's pretty wild. Now, the next one here is the exposure correction. This is a correction. This is not an exposure slider like you'd have in Lightroom. You're not going to be underexposing two stops or overexposing two stops. You're bringing in properly exposed images, but now you're going to just be doing some slight adjustments because once again, Andrew, I tell my clients I can do anything. Really? And I have had them ask, could you make this just a little brighter? And I'm like, sure, and I do, but I've got to go into Lightroom or Photoshop and render it and then resave it. So I'm going to pull this exposure slider up a little bit here. And you notice it's just going to kind of bring up that exposure a little bit. You're going to see it in some of the shadows there. This is before, this is after. I mean, look at the dude. I mean, in terms of just evening out that the blotchiness, more or less, the variances in the skin, it's really helping so much. I mean, she's pretty much flawless as it is, but wow, that is incredible what you can do with that. So I think the eye circle removal for me is the biggest deal breaker.
One thing that probably wedding photographers won't use as much, but if you are a portrait photographer and you're shooting kids, the eye enhancement is just a cash register. It's basically like if you took Windex and sprayed it on the kid's eyes and just it just brightens them up. It just gives a little pop to the eye. I don't know if it works on the
I was going to say, will it work on Gucci?
It detects face, so I'm not sure if it'll detect the dog or not.
I'm curious if it will.
You got to hit the full coverage.
Yeah. Okay, so we full coverage. We'll see if it does. I really don't know, you guys. It's probably set to look for a human, but I want to see if it'll recognize my buddy Gucci over there. I don't think it will. Gucci doesn't look anything close to a human either. This is a little alien doggy, and I say that with endearment. I don't think I have any kids actually in this.
That's fine. Do you have like a super face close up? Because then we can just show the eyes where like her eyes are wide open or something.
Let me see. I'm scanning. If not, maybe you have one on your end, Andrew, that you could prepare to load up.
Doesn't Jamie from Folk have a skin does he have a little walkthrough on some of this stuff too?
So he shows that a little bit too on his but I mean it's pretty easy.
I don't have a close-up from this, like a super close-up loaded in here already.
Do not.
I'm gonna see if I can grab one and drag an image in. You keep looking too.
Okay.
Hey, while you guys are looking for that, Facebook question about the magazine. From Susan, thanks for your questions. Susan, does Magazine Designer offer typography controls such as leading and kerning? And she's also asking about different styles. How many different magazines do you guys have on there now?
There are total, I think there's like 25 different magazine styles. I'd have to go back and check and see. We launched 11 new ones. Yeah, I'm just trying to find one. As far as kerning, so you can change the spacing between the characters, and then you can also change the space. There we go, between the characters, and then you can change the spacing between the lines pretty fluidly.
Lines. Okay. Thank you. Great question, Susan.
I'm still scanning for a picture of
me too.
Close up. I'm just like in my regular catalog. Okay, I still have not found one. I don't photograph babies, y'all, except for my own. Okay, let's keep looking.
let's see. I have.
Follow-up question from Susan.
This one's not bad. Not
Can
good.
you do, she means typography styles like tag a heading style?
No.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, you would just have to create different text blocks at different sizes and stuff. Yeah, if you're looking for full text control like InDesign, you're not going to find it. But for our purposes, it will have enough.
Yeah, it's like that line of like too much versus not enough.
Mary Ellen said there's a woman holding a baby in one of your selects, if that works.
Yeah, we're looking for a close-up. I'm trying to find a close-up here because I really want to show you what it looks like.
Yeah, I might have one here. We'll see.
I'm trying to find pictures of all my pictures of my kids are on my iPhone.
So one thing, maybe Ben, I'm opening one. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I got some money here. I got some money.
Okay, good. This is the last feature to really get into, correct?
Yeah, well, I can show a little bit of the design library.
While you're doing that, though, let me just talk about a couple little things as well. So I'm just going to screen share while you're getting all that set up, Andrew.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So one of the things that I will do is if I have a couple, maybe it's like an engagement shoot. I've got a client who they're really particular about making sure that they do just like look flawless. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to find, after I do all my editing, inside of Lightroom and I render these out, they're about ready for delivery. I'm going to go through all those pictures, maybe of the bride where she's probably 3/4 or, filling the frame or more. And I'm going to grab them all. So I'm going to filter these maybe based off of favorites. I think I've got a bunch of Gucci in here. I'm going to unselect Gucci. And so I've got all these pictures here of the bride, and maybe they'll already be like edited, right? So maybe it's this selection right here. One of the things that I will do with this is I will go and I will click on photos here.
Double click the photos so you can get that. You got to be in film strip view.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I wasn't, and I'm still screen sharing, correct?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've got these right here. And so I will actually use this as a way to do skin retouching, and I'll render back out the JPEGs. Is it okay if I teach people this hack?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
As long as I didn't do it.
Yeah, you say you didn't do it? Oh, shoot, I just did it again. I closed out. Okay. Son of a monkey. Okay, so give me a second here, you guys.
All right. Okay. And then we got about 10 minutes max.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. I'll be fast. How long is your little thing going to take?
Super quick.
Okay, cool. All right. So is mine. Okay. So let me screen share. Wait for it. Wait for me, guys. Don't leave me behind. Share. Okay, good. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Image Brander and I'm going to do new, and I'm going to just call this skin retouch. This is my own little hack that I.
Oh, do you want me to teach you a better hack?
Sure, but is there time for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool.
Go back into the retouching window.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Okay, click on order. Click on orders.
Hold on, orders. Yep.
Yep. And then click add other.
Okay. Add other.
Name it whatever you want. Doesn't matter. Just put a name in there. Skin retouching.
Skin retouch.
Click add, and then drag those photos in there. Just those photos.
Yep.
And then click that export, and then it will export at full resolution.
Oh, rad.
Yeah,
that's
done.
awesome. So what I was getting at is sometimes I'll just go in here and I will edit just these. So full coverage on her, I'll do a little circle removal and I'll reduce that. I'll grab all of the pictures and I'll sync them up. And then I will just render these out, just like what he said, with orders, and I'll click render. And I will export out these photographs, and I'll use these just as the individual photographs to deliver on their online gallery for the couple. So it's how I actually will do skin retouching on the individuals, even the ones that aren't in the album. I'll actually render out the individual pictures. Make sense?
Yeah. Just kind of an easy way to retouch faster.
Yep, it is. It's way faster. It's incredibly faster.
Cool. All right. So I did see some questions. Again, if you having tech support issues, just contact support. That's nothing that we can take care of on a webinar. And if it's an issue that is persistent, the support team can screen share with you and do all of that stuff. So last thing I wanted to show is just the design library stuff. So for updates, oops, I might have to close this out. So for updates, we have added some new, for example, baby design albums. So we've added some new album designs. We have added some new magazine designs. So if we scroll down, I'll go down to the wedding magazines. So you can see, where's the studio magazines? So you can see we've added 2 more wedding magazines, 2 more senior magazines, 2 more baby magazines. So a bunch of new magazines. And then always remember that the card designs also have marketing materials for cards. And this is a new feature that we've added, is a client how-to. So this is a card that teaches the clients how to take a picture of their wall so that you can show that in Gallery Designer. We had one photographer send a support ticket just to let us know that they asked for a picture of the client to take a picture of their wall, and the client actually just walked up to the wall and like took a picture of the wall from like 4 inches away.
This is the texture.
No, that's not what I need.
It's very smooth.
Did what you
A bunch of new songs, and then also a bunch of new stock rooms.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh,
There's like 20 new
nice
stock
ones
rooms
in
in there or something.
there. I'm about to go download all.
Go download all them.
them.
Get them.
That's some nice.
Yeah, so some really cool, nice new rooms, staircases.
Those are all rooms in your house. Is that correct,
Yeah,
Fundy? Those are all individual.
Yeah, my many houses.
This is
No, those are digital renders.
okay.
Hey, Fundy, there's a couple questions in the Q&A from people who are asking about like future things they would like. You guys always will be happy to take suggestions, right? That's just, that's support. Just say, hey, I'd love this, and you guys have a hit list going.
Ticket, we just keep kind of a running list. So we fit in as many questions or items as we can, and sometimes we can't. I've had people come up to me at a trade show and say, hey, I requested this feature a year ago and it's not in there. Just because we request something doesn't mean that we can do it. We do our best, but it's not just open source software coding. One last thing that is an under the hood thing that especially people that are working off of like a network server or external drives is that we have created, when you create a project, we actually create a duplicate project under the hood on your computer. So it's always working locally. So you should see a significant speed bump. And then if you are a dummy like me sometimes and you accidentally unplug your hard drive while you're working on it and your project was on that hard drive, we will save that project for you and let you.
Oh, yay. I'm a dummy a lot, by the way.
Yes. So we're sorry that happens to you. But we are not in control of you unplugging your hard drive, but we at least made a fail-safe for you.
Sometimes I think I'm just a risk taker. Like I'll eject and then I'll be like, yeah, it's that cable. And then I'll like there's 3 plugged in. And I'm like, I feel like a bomb diffuser. It's this one, right? And then I just stare at the top right-hand corner to see if it gives me the dialog box that says you have unsafely ejected. Like, darn it, I should have chosen the red cable.
Yeah. Yeah, we're glad you're not the bomb diffuser guy. Say that.
That's cool. You guys, this is awesome. I'm so stoked to be able to hop in and incorporate all this stuff with my full team. And I'm just super grateful for it. I'm just glad that you had a great product. And I love that you just keep pushing it to become a better product, because you could have settled and just been like, hey, I did what I said I was going to do. Leave me alone. I love that you just keep innovating and keep pushing it forward inside of one application. That's the biggest thing, is it's one license. It's one thing we're going to buy. It's one product. It's one window. I don't need all this stuff open. I can do everything right inside of it. And so yeah, I mean, I've said this before. It's like, I need Lightroom, and then other than that, everything else can go away on my computer except for Fundy.
Yeah, and shout out to the whole team over there, especially support. I mean, the reason we switched to Fundy, fully switched to them a couple years ago, was mainly because support is so awesome compared to like every other software company we've ever worked with. So they're awesome.
We always get back within one business day, hop on a screen share if we need to. People ask why we don't have phone-in support. We did for a very short time, and then we would get 100 calls a day saying, I clicked download, where did it go? Or my password again. And we just, it's either have phone support run out of India like the rest of the world, or we just do it all in-house, and you just got to wait just a couple hours for your response.
Fantastic.
All right. Thanks, you guys. This is great. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate just being able to be at one of the dudes to show everybody what all this can do. It's awesome.
Love it.
Thank you so much.
This is being recorded. We will have it transcribed and thrown up on YouTube and stuff, so you guys can rewatch this. Super fun. Big thank you to Ben. Can't wait to hang out at WPPI. And big thank you. Andy and Amy, are you going to be at Imaging also?
We are not.
Okay.
We heavily reduced our travel for 2020.
Okay. So. Word on the street, they do have a guest room, and guest room in their house. Everybody's welcome. So just feel free to just head en masse over to Amy and Andy.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true. Stop by the studio. We'll take you surfing.
Yeah.
You can roll. We'll throw the mats out in the backyard, and you can have our kids throw arm bars on you and all kinds of stuff.
I will definitely get my butt kicked then.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, we love you all. Come.
Okay. Take care, guys.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Fundy. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Andy.
Guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.